Welcome to PM Untold, Unlocking the Path to Success. This podcast unravels the hidden stories behind exceptional leadership to excel in your own leadership endeavors. Brought to you by the collaboration of PMI Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Subscribe to PM Untold today and join us as we redefine leadership one story at a time.
Welcome to PM Untold. I'm Anja van den Berg and I will be your host in this special edition. I'm a project manager and working as a freelancer consultant for multiple industry, and currently I'm the president of the PMI Belgium chapter. I'm delighted to present our guest, Pat Lucey. He has served on the board of the directors of PMI Management Institute since 2024, is currently the chair of the PMI governance community, and is a long-time volunteering and a past president of the Ireland chapter. I already mentioned that this PM Untold is dedicated to the PMI BeNeLux Summit. This is a project management conference organized by 3 chapters: Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. This year's conference is focused on project management in the AI era. And the aim is to bridge precision, creativity, and innovation. Together with Pat, we will talk on what differentiates the PMI BeNeLux Summit from all other AI events, and we give you a sneak preview on the workshop that Pat will give us during the summit. Pat, welcome to PM Untold.
Thank you very much, Anja. Delighted to get a chance to speak with you and to the broader team in the Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg region. Delighted to speak with you.
Could you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, well, my favorite topic, of course, is speaking about myself, so I'm more than happy to do that. So I'm from Ireland. Grew up interested in maths and computers, so became an electronic engineer. Worked for Motorola for 16 years. Went through the whole telecom revolution. Unfortunately, Motorola decided to shut down the Ireland facility in 2007. So at that point, I had to make a decision as to what to do next and set up a business. Along with a colleague of mine, we set up project management and software business. And then I ran that as CEO for the next 15 years until we successfully exited that business 3 years ago. So that's my career in a nutshell. Going in a little bit deeper, when I worked in Motorola, I went in as a software engineer, and one day when I was out in the restroom, I came back and was told, "Oh, Pat, you're also managing this project for us now." So I accidentally became a project manager without having much clue of what was involved. So after learning by doing for a while, I signed up to get trained as a project manager and learned all kinds of amazing things like work breakdown structures and risk registers, and found really, a tremendous set of tools that were really useful, not just for running projects, but for planning my vacation or for building a house or for doing anything. So I became a huge fan of project management. Soon before my Motorola career ended, I ended up being head of the PMO and head of the project management department there. And I got certified with the PMI's PMP certification, the gold standard in project management certifications. And I joined my local chapter, the Ireland chapter, purely as a way of getting PDUs to keep my certification. That was my only motivation, get some PDUs.
But that is the motivation for most of the people when they become certified in the first place, is to get their PDUs and to join a local chapter, because that's the way to gain their PDUs.
Yes, it's the most convenient and cheapest way of doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
You were talking about setting up your own company,
mhm.
and you used there some tools of project management. Can you elaborate a little bit more about how you use project management in creating your own business?
Sure. So I think at first mention, people think that the project manager role is very different to the role of the entrepreneur or the startup business. But if you think about it a little more, to be a good project manager, you have to have a mix of skills. You have to have people skills and task-based skills. So on the people skills side, you have to attract, motivate, and retain staff, people to work with you alongside you. You have to do the same thing to find customers. When you're a founder of a business, you are the salesperson for that business. Despite the fact I had zero sales knowledge, I had to go out there and engage with people and find that. Your business plan is essentially a project plan. You're figuring out how much money you have available, what kind of budget that you can spend, how you're going to spend it. You're setting milestones. You're keeping your bank manager happy by showing them you have a nice plan and you can achieve it. You need to think about the risks, things that could go wrong
Hmm.
with your project. And scope management was one of the toughest things to do in starting up a business. Because at the start, if a potential customer threatens to open their wallet, well, then I would happily wash their windows, cut their grass, do whatever. And you need to really stay true to your business. You can't just run in all directions. You have to stay focused if you're going to succeed. So I think the the skills that we learn as project managers are very applicable in establishing and later growing and scaling a business. You need to be able to work well with people and you need to get the task done and get it delivered.
Yeah.
I think the area that there's the biggest difference is risk, because as a PM, I don't like risk. Okay, negative risk. I don't like negative risk. I love the positive risk, the opportunities, but
But
not the negative.
do you know any project manager who likes risk?
Well, this is the problem, right? So as an entrepreneur, I had to battle my project management side of my brain because if I eliminated all risk, guess what? Things are too smooth, right? Without risk, you won't get the reward. So I found I never really felt I got a good balance. I felt I always leaned too much one way or the other. So if things were running super smooth and everything calm, my entrepreneurial brain would kick in and say, oh, I'm not being aggressive enough. Then I need to go and
Yeah.
take bigger bets and try something new. So we opened in the Netherlands in 2018, that was one of the reasons. We felt things were running very smoothly for us in Ireland. So let's open a BV. Let's open in Netherlands and try to do more business there. And then 3 months later, loads of risks are kicking in, and then my project management brain activates, and I'm trying to mitigate, minimize those risks, and get back in control. So over the years, I guess I flip-flop between both those two. So I suppose,
Yeah, it's really taking a balance between the project management and the entrepreneur part to have a balance. This is what I also learned when I have became president of the PMI Belgium chapter. I also had to learn how to mix and keep the balance between both of them because it's indeed, like you said, looking for customers, looking for sponsors, looking for volunteers, how to gauge and how to engage volunteers in the chapter. When you became a volunteer, what was your journey of a volunteer in the PMI in project management world?
sure. So I originally got involved for very selfish reasons to gain some easy PDUs, professional development units, so I could retain my certification. But I found being involved with the chapter gave me a chance to meet like-minded people, go to events and chat to people and learn new stuff. So it was people who had similar interests to myself. So I found it really good way of engaging with people. I had a very strong work network, but not outside of work. Then soon after that, our company shut down, right? Motorola moved out of Ireland, and suddenly I was facing the prospect of no job. And that's when my PMI network really kicked in
Yeah,
because the people I had got to know through that network were fantastic for both with opportunities to get employment and then opportunities to become customers or to get introductions. So it was a great, really good network. And I really felt that my PMI colleagues had my back at that point when, it was pretty stressful time trying to figure out what to do next. So as a result, I put my name forward and I was elected onto the board. Took on various roles, and then I spent 2 years as the vice president, 2 years as the president, 2 years as the past president. I find that whatever I gave, as in time or effort I put in, I got back multiple in return, just from getting to meet people and get exposure to new ideas, different thinking. I really would encourage people to get involved as a volunteer with their local chapters.
Advice that you would give to people to become volunteering for the chapter?
So I would say, first of all, just take a look at PMI's volunteer portal. So if you just go to Google and search PMI volunteer, the portal will pop up. You can, for example, if you're still looking for volunteers to assist with the BeNeLux event coming up, you can type in BeNeLux and then the window will pop up telling you what positions are available. So I think it's a good idea to volunteer first for a once-off event like that, right? Rather than commit the rest of your life, volunteer for a specific event such as the summit coming up,
Yep.
the conference. See what it's like. See if you get a positive vibe from the people there, and which I'm sure you will. And then look to see what roles might be in place that interest you, because running a chapter is like running a little mini enterprise. You've got to look after the finance, you've got to go out and engage with members, you've got to deal with sponsors. It can be a great opportunity for people to get experience outside of their normal day-to-day job activity. And there is a pathway. If you find you like it and you really enjoy it, you can get involved at a regional level, at a global level, right up to sitting on the board of directors. So I was lucky enough, as you mentioned, to get elected in 2023 to sit on the board then for the next 3 years. And it's a great honor to be selected by my fellow members to do that. And again, I find there's a lot of time spent in the role, but it's immensely rewarding getting to see the activities of project managers all over the globe.
Yeah.
And some of the changes and initiatives that we've been able to put in place. It's really rewarding.
You mentioned the PMI BeNeLux Summit as a volunteering part, but you're also a speaker at that event. What inspired you to the topic that you are going to present? Because your topic is project management and entrepreneur, but what inspired you to speak about this at the summit?
Well, I think a couple of things. One is that the PMI's new purpose is all about maximizing project success to elevate our world. And there's two elements to that. Maximizing success, it's more than being a good project manager. It's more than making sure my schedule is optimized. It's about making sure that we deliver the benefits of the project. So it's stepping up and taking more responsibility, taking on more workload. And the way we measure success is if the value that we deliver is greater than the effort and expense it takes to get there. So it's all about delivering value. I think the entrepreneurial mindset, if you ask somebody why did they take on this world of pain of becoming an entrepreneur, why do they give up their safe harbor of a role with an organization to try to carve out a new path? So people who haven't done it say, "Oh, I wanted to be in control." But of course, people who have done it know you're not in control, right? You just have the illusion of control, but in reality, every day you're responding to events going on globally and locally. So the real reason that people are willing to take the risk of setting up their own business and trying to grow it is that sense of value. It's the same thing. It's about building something that's of value, building a legacy, building something you can be proud of, delivering against your purpose. So the title of my talk is, Project Management and Entrepreneurships from Projects to Prosperity. And by prosperity, I don't mean your bank account. I mean that you can live a life that's rich in meaning and purpose, that's delivering value and having an impact on those around you. And I really think that the the skills that we gain as project managers really help us to achieve that.
Mhm. I can follow you that indeed when you become an entrepreneur that you follow your passion and you want to leave a legacy behind for the people who are coming after you to deliver the value and maximizing the success. But how do you see project management evolving in the next 5, 10 years?
So, of course, two letters immediately have to be mentioned, right? Which is one of the big themes of the conference coming up
Yeah.
in the BeNeLux event, and that is AI. And I think the PMI has been really good and proactive in embracing the possibilities that AI offers our profession. In the past, I spoke about project management as being both a science and an art. The science involving a lot of the number crunching, the predictive analysis, the being able to give confidence if that a project will deliver or not. The art is around the project manager's role engaging with people, influencing stakeholders, motivating team members, convincing people that this project is worth sticking with as we aim to deliver. I think the art part of it is going to remain just as it has, but the science part of it is seeing a dramatic um, refresh through the use of AI tools and technology and techniques. So um, I'm very excited about the possibility that offers, right? For those of us who've been around long enough, remembering the hard way that you optimize schedules and the work in building risk registers, etc. AI offers us a suite of tools now that can dramatically improve and automate those things. But what it won't do is inspire your team to keep working, right? To keep at it. It won't convince your stakeholders to prioritize your project requests over others. So it doesn't mean the role of the project manager goes away. It means it's given us a new set of tools that we can work with. And AI isn't the only change that we're facing. The whole area of sustainability, of course,
Hmm.
is already massive and will just become more and more so over the next 5 to 10 years, as you say. So with that in mind, it was one of the reasons why the PMI created a joint venture earlier this year with Green Project Management,
Yeah.
because sustainability was the single biggest factor that influences the perception of success. So if we're able to implement our projects, but also have a positive impact on sustainability, that's a huge deal. And that's something else we need to work about. The other thing in the next 5 to 10 years is if you look back over the last few years, how has delivering projects changed? It's changed immeasurably. Pre-COVID, I have to admit, when any of my team asked me if they could work from home, my answer was a default no, right?
Hmm.
As in, my view was no, project managers have to be physically there with the team, whether that's to pat people on the back or kick people on the ass or whatever it takes. I felt they had to be there. And clearly I was wrong. When the pandemic hit and everybody was working from home, projects still got delivered. People still worked well together. Thankfully, we had the technology that enabled that to happen. It's not as good, in my opinion. Um, Working remotely, it's harder to generate the same camaraderie and you know sense of teamwork that you get when you're physically together,
Hmm.
but it also has a lot of advantages, right? So now, since things have normalized again, I'm very much encouraging a hybrid environment where people spend some time physically together to collaborate and brainstorm, and they can work remotely if that suits them as well to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But that's a huge change that nobody saw coming in January 2020 and everybody was doing by April 2020. So it's amazing how
Yeah.
quickly we can change.
Yeah, that's indeed. We can change. We can adapt very easily to change, and we can also look to what the changes are bringing us in a positive way, and also sometimes in a very negative way because we have to adapt. But you said about you had AI, you had sustainability, and then the change in working with teams remotely and in a hybrid environment. If younger people coming from school, what advice would you give them if they want to go in the career path of project management?
So I think it's tougher for younger people now than when I came out of education. So in my time, there was probably, 5 or 6 options. I did engineering, right? I could have done law or medicine or whatever. Um, but now there are about 5 bazillion options for people to choose between. Also, now there is an acceptance that a career is very much up to the individual, and the likelihood that they will go into one role or one employer and stay there for the rest of their career is, practically zero.
Yeah,
Okay. I do know a couple of people who've done that, but it's very unusual. So people have to take ownership of their career. And I think project management is a wonderful career option for people who, A, want to travel because project management is a global requirement. Our latest research says we're going to need somewhere between 25 and 30 million more project managers
yeah,
over the next few years in every part of the world. And number two, it offers a bridge between industries. So if you are a really good project manager in the construction world, you can also adapt and become a really good project manager in the utilities space.
yeah.
And you can then adapt and become a great project manager in pharma space, and you can also do it in the IT space. So the skills are very transferable, which I think makes it very attractive as well for younger people to do. Now, there's always the challenge, should I first become a project manager? Should that be the first thing I aim to be? Or should I go and become, an accountant or an engineer and subsequently become a project manager? So I think both are valid options. Um, as we see the evolution of technology, the having the core subject matter expertise may not be as big a blocker as it was traditionally. So it might be easier for people to move directly into the project manager role. That's something we're going to keep an eye on and see. But I think it's a really exciting, attractive, and appealing option for younger people to consider, and I'd really encourage them to get involved.
All right. During the PMI BeNeLux Summit, we are going to talk about AI. We're going to also talk about the human part. How do you see that combination, the human part with AI?
So the it's an interesting and challenging aspect. So in November 22, when ChatGPT became available to the world, like there was a collective intake of breath. What is this? Wow. Everybody started to play with it and realize some of its potential. It was one of the defining moments for those of us in the tech space. Um, and then as time has gone on, there's been a mixture of fear, as in, are we all going to lose our jobs to this thing? And excitement. Look at all the possibilities that are now opened because of it. But our take is certainly for the project management profession, it is an absolutely necessary tool set to have. The research says that a really good project manager who does not use AI capabilities will be outperformed by a relatively low performing project manager who does use those tools. So you're not going to lose your job to AI, but you might lose your job to another person who can use AI and take advantage of it. So I think it's really important that we upskill
Hmm.
and take the time to get beyond the playing with ChatGPT to actually learn how to use some of the tools in a real effective way. And again, the PMI has a bunch of different training courses available. Some of them are completely free, to whether you're a member or not. They're all free to members. Plus, we have an advanced certification program for people who are running AI projects that people can also sign up and do. So the PMI has really been good at providing the skills and training courses available to help people upskill. On the human side of it, I think we can't delegate our interactions with our colleagues to a machine, right? We still have to make sure that
Yeah,
we're working on our, emotional intelligence, that we're taking the time to understand how to work best with people and showing that. So the human part of it will not go away, and is probably more important than ever.
yeah, that's indeed the human part and the machine. We cannot go away from the machine, but you cannot go away from the human part. Uh, Conflicts also cannot be resolved by machine. It also needs to be resolved by the people. Um, if What advice could you give to people to join the PMI BeNeLux Summit on the 10th of October in Maastricht?
So I would say take a look at the agenda, see if there are topics there that are of interest to you. Um, Come along and say hello to me. So I'll be talking as part of the agenda, and I think going to be part of a panel discussion as well. What I really enjoy, I think BeNeLux is great in that you've got three chapters who come together. It's a collaborative event, which means, and it's in Maastricht, which
Yeah,
is very centrally located for all three regions to come together. And you get different perspectives. I have to admit, before I set up a business in the Netherlands, I assumed that culturally the Benelux region was all pretty similar. I quickly learned I was completely wrong. Okay, so that's another thing I'm admitting to, right, that I was wrong about. So working with people in the Netherlands, very different to Belgium and different again to Luxembourg. So I enjoyed the diversity of thought and approach and culture. So that's going to be one aspect of the Benelux event. And then you've got some great speakers. The topics, AI is the headline topic, but there are other areas as well. And I think what's good is you're not just going all in on pure AI tech.
yeah,
You're making it relevant to people across all different areas, different industries they're working in. I think there'll be a huge amount there for people to learn and gain
yeah,
from. Plus, you can't beat the person-to-person contact, the network building, the learning what's going on in the region.
yeah. Thank you very much, Pat, for this wonderful session during this PM Untold. And your insights were incredible, and we learned a lot. And I guess that our audience also were benefit from your expertise and knowledge. And would you like to know anything more about Pat and his topic? Then I would say join his workshop during the summit on Friday, the 10th of October in Maastricht. Thank you for listening and stay curious, and we'll see you up to the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to PM Untold. From groundbreaking innovations to nurturing high-performing teams, we are your go-to resource for mastering leadership. For questions or suggestions, contact us at beneluxpodcast@pmi.lu. Subscribe to PM Untold today as we redefine leadership one story at a time. Stay inspired.